I don't even remember how I did the intro last time, so I'm just going to wing it again. All right, everyone, welcome back to Further Beyond Dragon Ball Daima. I, as always, am with my co-host KiingHiitman. That's how you pronounce it, yeah?
Oh, we're somewhat close. We're getting there. We're working. We're getting there. I like it.
That's what the two eyes are all about. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, welcome, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. How is my co-host doing? Is he all right?
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'll just quickly apologise up top that this is a little bit later than we anticipated. I had family business to attend, but I digress. We are back. I've watched the episode, and there is, in a half an hour, man, there is a lot to go through. It
Mhm.
felt a lot longer, and that's not a bad thing. It just felt like there was a lot, and I was just kind of in the mood to digest it all. But what do you think, straight off the top?
It added a lot of lore. It almost added questions and answered all of them, or a good chunk of them, for things we could have been, wondering 20 years ago. Really interesting, universal. We'll get into it. Trust me, we'll get into it bit
Yeah,
by bit. So
well, I'll say straight up the top that there'll be spoilers. I mean, I don't know why you would
yes.
necessarily be this far into a episode 2 review if you haven't watched it. But if you haven't watched it, that's fine. Just be warned that we're going to not hold back at any point, starting now, basically. But yeah, the do you think so? This is set like directly after Majin Buu Saga. Yeah,
Yeah,
is,
I
is
was
that
told
your
about a
interpretation?
year. Yeah, I
Oh,
was told
okay.
about a year after.
So when
I'm not
the
sure how true that was, but it does feel like it.
there was nothing to contradict that at the very least. I don't think. When they're watching the replay of the Boo saga in their realm, do you think they're watching that live or like within or after hearing the immediate news almost?
I definitely think it was like a little after they heard the news. I'm not sure if
Yeah, but
they,
within
I
that
don't know if
kind
they have,
of
the God tube type thing going on.
yeah.
I love that they can rewatch these playbacks. It's really dope. But
What?
yeah, it felt like a little after they heard everything happen. Because the Buu
Okay.
Saga happened in like, what, 4 hours in a way? Like it was a hefty day for
Oh, right. In terms
between
of real time,
Goku's
you mean?
arriving and yeah, it was like, well, the first segment of it was like 3, 4 hours, I should say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start with that then. What did you think about the Boo Saga remade, essentially, like animation wise, just sort of how they told that story? What did you think?
They did a very dangerous thing and they opened the wormhole, the rabbit hole of what if we got all of Dragon Ball Z reanimated. Now look what they did. Now people are like, so y'all can do it. Y'all can definitely go back and y'all are willing to do it. So it's now we're gonna be sitting on the edge of our seats for a long, long while waiting for them to revamp the whole series. You see other anime do it all the time. It comes out gorgeous. So the idea of Dragon Ball doing that in like 2030 and just starting from scratch would be very, very exciting because it was so manga accurate, right? Like you see the frames, you see what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I was thinking that. I was almost like, it's a very Dock and Battle kind of episode, you know what I mean? Like, there's like
Yeah,
still shots of certain things, and then they'd like animated a bit here and there. As quality as it was, I don't know if I still don't think I'm sold on a remake, at least not in that style. I think I would want more stylized art. I feel like it was very
okay,
safe and very simplistic, despite the fact it was like top
I
quality.
get that.
I just don't
Yeah,
think it's got I guess, the character or like you look at
yeah,
each
the
saga,
shading, the
man.
lines.
It's
Yeah, I
more
get
that
what you mean.
rawness, like that actually like that hand drawn element. Whereas like
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Super Broly, I think nailed that. It's got like multiple different unique styles through it, which is something that I would prefer them at least taste. It may not pay off, like it's a risk, and it may not pay off, but I'd prefer them to try that as opposed to the safe option of just very perfect. I guess like that Boo Saga remade in episode 1 here, it's perfect. Like it really is. It's
yeah,
fantastic to look at, but I think it's too safe and too plain um, for me to want a full series of it. I guess, but
I get that.
yeah, I really liked it. I wonder how much more we'll see as the series goes on. It obviously is
Oh
it's
my
kind it
gosh.
actually kind of proved me right what I said in the preview that Demon like Dabura's death is basically the
Mm-hmm.
spark
The
for
crux
all
of
of
it all.
this, yeah,
Yeah,
for all this to happen, which um, I feel like was not obvious, but I didn't feel like I put much effort into that theory and it paid off. Um, but yeah, And then we've got what Supreme Kai's brother and sister.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I, I'm not sure what I was expecting from Degasu and Arinsu. I'm hoping I'm saying their names right. I feel like I am,
Oh,
but
I'm
I'm
not going to get
close.
even
But
close to right. Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
work on it just so that this I could be proud of myself. All right, this is definitely a thing for me right now. But introducing these new characters, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I like them so far. I definitely like the design. I think the Supreme Kais, all of them look cold. Just the cloth and the scarf around their neck, the cape, basically. All of them got some drip to them, man.
yeah.
What were you
They're
thinking
all very
about their
unique.
introductions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all very unique, but also given that they're the siblings of Universe Seven Supreme Kai, I feel
Hmm.
like they're also close enough to that. I mean, I don't know what official Kai garb is versus what they wear as a race. It seems to be seemingly like their race's kit as opposed to a
Yeah.
role. Hence why Gohan can get it, maybe. I don't know. But yeah.
I'm loving it.
So
I'm loving
one
it.
of the retcons, well, there's a few in this, or semi retcons, but the major one is the Patara. They've gone back to the well. Uh, um, I mean, this
Yeah.
is set before Dragon Ball Super, so the Dragon Ball Super kind of got retconned here. Um, Basically, this is set in a time when Kibito Kai should be kicking about, but they've defused prior to meeting Beerus, it would seem. So prior to the Universe 6 and 7 tournament. And the reasoning is apparently it's got nothing to do with whether you're a god or not. Apparently, it's just straight up, not even alluded to, that it's inside Majin Buu has magic that separates Patara.
Yeah. I am curious. It seems like, it's one of those things, maybe multiple things can be true. Like
Yeah,
the
okay.
fusion was supposed to be permanent, but then something about Boo is just like, no. And then, like we were saying, the added lore of just this one episode in the Demon Realm, something about the Demon
Well,
Realm,
that's
maybe it
next.
just
That's my next
counteracts the
question. Yeah.
effect. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it counteracts the effects of the Patara, and it would still apply that mortals can't keep it permanent. Gods typically would, but something about just Boo is able to disable it regardless. So I'm curious about that.
I'm actually slightly even more curious why they defuse them altogether now. I think that's probably bigger of a retcon than the rules themselves. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Kibito Ko was meant to be at the start of Super and whatnot. But I think it's even more interesting they actually even considered it at all outside of that. But because also the Supreme Kai's siblings are involved, I thought it might have been a more interesting, whether it was part of the plot or whether it just even a throwaway comment, that the siblings would then have to see like half of their brother as a part of a singular being, and whether or not that would be motivation to like think that's sacrilegious or something along those lines. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I feel like that would have been a dynamic that would have been more fun than, I guess, we've just going to have a bit of a sibling war for I guess a little bit of this at the
Yeah, it
very
seems
least.
like some sibling rivalry is definitely going to be a massive, massive dynamic in the show. I can't wait to see how they start interacting. And like, even in episode 0, I was real adamant about learning about the Supreme Kai lore. I know you said you were focused on other aspects of the show, but I'm just stuck in that place, man. I got to see what they're all about.
What did you think? Like prior to this episode, we only saw his brother or the brother, I should say. Again, I'm not going to attempt the names yet. I'll butcher it way too hard. We saw
Biggest.
the yeah, we saw the brother in the trailer and whatnot. I don't think we saw the sister, or
Hmm.
maybe we did, but we didn't pick up that she was a Kai, possibly.
He seems to have like the goofiness, but at the same
Yeah,
time, like the oversight of like the babysitting aspect, maybe the guardianship aspect of like a Whis. It gives off the Whis Beerus complex. I
yeah,
like
he's
it
kind of
though.
the
I really
assistant.
do. Yeah, yeah. But you
Yeah,
can
okay.
tell he's more mature. He definitely gives older brother in a little way.
What do you think about the demon realm?
Man, first of all, we have to, just because it's the main thing will always be the main thing. There is another set of Dragon Balls in the Demon Realm. So you already know what the focus and one of the main arc points of the show is about to be. They have a new set of Dragon Balls. They're guarded by these giant, monstrous, they seem like robot armor knight type beings created by the newest Namekian we've met in the show,
Yeah,
the
dude, I'm
old.
stoked about that.
Yeah, the old demon Neva, I believe was his name. I certainly, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. You're gonna keep your ear out listening for the term Dragon Balls because one thing about this show is you don't know what those Dragon Balls are capable of yet and what the difference in rules are going to be. There's always a new set of rules or always a different way. There's not even seven of them, is what's crazy. There's only
Yeah,
three. So
there's three, but
it
they
tells
also
you a
mentioned
lot,
on
and they're all
they
right there.
well, what you were talking about in terms of rules and stuff. They did mention that black magic and like white magic was it? Yeah, so I doubt a black wish like eliminating them would be accepted. That's at like the 13-minute mark when they're just, when the new king, I
Okay.
guess, and Supreme Kai's brothers like chatting about what to wish for. Where is it? I'm sure their power is based in white magic, is what he says just prior to that. So it sounds like the white magic and black magic is kind of, I guess, the good and evil. I guess it depends how loose they're going to go with evil because it doesn't sound like it's necessarily nefarious. I don't know.
Nice.
These guys don't
Um.
seem bad.
Yeah. Also, a thing is like being. He wants. The idea of Deborah, just going back to 5 minutes ago, Deborah being gone in that power vacuum, I definitely want to see what would that title give this
Yeah.
new,
What does he, yeah,
short
rule
king? What
over?
would that give him? Yeah, what would that give him dominion over, and what would be his commandments that he can give out to people? Or I want to see what he's gonna be aiming for besides literally the throne that's in the middle of the episode. So you want to see that. I'm also curious about his first wish. He's gonna make Goku and the group
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
which is
And
cool.
then the
I
second
want to
wish
see
is
what
what
that
they,
second wish is.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. What do you
that
think's
third
going on with
eye.
that third eye?
This is going to be very good.
Go
I
ahead,
like
go
how
ahead.
I don't know. I just love that. I love how they've kind of alluded to the power up already. Like this is, I feel like Toriyama is just caked over all this with like such an
You
unassuming
can tell, yo, his
villain.
hand. You can tell
Yeah,
it's over this.
it's
You
the
you can
gags are
see the
everywhere,
difference.
but they're not like
Yes,
distracting. And even the unthreatening looking villain that obviously has a more threatening final form
hadn't
is
even
him
thought
all
about
over.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love it, and I like the jester nature of him. He's a bit of a clown looking thing. Um,
Yes.
One, I'm going to just kind of jump around randomly because I'm just jumping around the episode. One thing I will say I did not like so much was when Goku and Vegeta were sparring in the present, not like in any of the flashbacks. It's just base Goku and Vegeta sparring.
Yeah.
I think it's too. I think they've done it a couple of times now, which is maybe why it's starting to stand out. It's too much of like the greatest hits and nothing necessarily specific in terms of combos anymore. It's like okay, punch, punch, block, block, Kamehameha, Gallic gun.
Oh,
And I'm like, yeah,
I
look, I
see.
get that. They're sparring, that's nice,
You know.
but I'd like
Yeah.
to see them
I see a
maybe,
new technique or attack yeah, yeah. I get that. I get
even
that.
if it is in response to an old one, you know what I mean? Like, let's say,
Yeah.
Goku runs with like the Kaioken combo or whatever it might be, but then Vegeta's trained for that now,
Vegeta's
so he
used to it
stops
now.
it like
Yeah.
halfway through and then comes up with like a counter combo. It doesn't have to be crazy, but just a little bit better than like punch, punch, block, block, Kamehameha, Gallic gun. It's
Yeah.
like I love that. Don't get me wrong; it's always cool to see. But we're in a series now. This is not like the movie. Like I got it in superhero because they're not the stars of the show. It was like, hey, they're going to do this in the background, whatever. That's fine. But we're in a show now, and it's not going to be often that we're going to get to see Goku and Vegeta going at it. So I would have liked to have seen them put in a little bit more thought into that exchange personally. But I mean, it's not to say that it's a problem. It's just becoming stale that formula, I think.
I
But I
get
mean,
that.
maybe that's just me. Yeah,
I get that. We were just speaking about how Toriyama you see this is the swan song, right? And we all appreciate that, and it just makes us all a little teary eyed for sure. One thing that tipped me off is when they said that they said Deborah's father's name, Abra, and then I'm like, one thing about Toriyama, if there's ever a lineage, Bobbity Bibbity,
yeah.
Bit Boo for that matter, his name was Abra, Abra
Was it?
Kadabra. Like
Yeah.
that is so Toriyama right
So,
there. It just
do you
tips you
think the
off so
third
easily.
Pokemon's coming?
Oh
Do you
my
do you
gosh.
think we're getting Alakazam like some in some way?
Yo,
Like I
man.
don't know,
Yo,
spelled
I ain't gonna
backwards or
front. They
something.
tip us off to that. Yo,
So, what do you think the sister is up to?
She definitely gives Toa vibes. I mean, I think we
Oh, she's
said
a
that.
doctor even.
Yeah, it gives off the like I just want to research combat and study life forms, and maybe she has a nefarious plan to take the Dragon Balls for herself or something like that. But so far, it gives the vibe of I want to study for my research purposes. Shoot, maybe her research purposes lead to a mirror-like character
I
that
was
was
just
made
gonna say,
from
do
the
you think this
data.
is what we were talking about in the other episode, where like they're almost like writing in old characters from scratch?
Yeah, it feels like it could easily get to that point by
Because
like
I even
a
got
couple
like
episodes, maybe episode 10.
yeah, because even like Mecha Kabura
Maybe
vibes
he's the
from the
final
Namek.
boss. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, even the kid, like there's the kid behind the foreshadowing. You don't really see who he is,
hmm
but he looks like he might be a third sibling or something.
I'm fiending to call him Boba Fett, bro. I'm fiending. I'm
Yeah, you doing
fiending.
them ones.
But yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready to see all these characters, see what their motives clearly are, see like, what their backstories are. We don't want to spend half the show on backstories for sure, but I wanna get
Well,
into
there's got to
those
be
aspects.
history. There is history that's
Yes.
going to be relevant. So there will be a certain amount of flashbacks I think are necessary, which I'm keen to see. I wonder if there'll be any more retcons. I guess another universe thing. There's going to be a lot of this actually, but the pointed ears.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
The
a
point.
whole, like I said, that's a whole lore conversation in itself. Yeah.
I
Oof.
don't even know
Go
where to
ahead,
start.
man.
I don't even know where to
Oh, I
start
got
with
one
that.
for you.
Go,
I
go,
got
go,
a little.
go.
I'm not gonna say anything off the wall, but there's
Go for it.
a race of warriors that when they transform, their eyes turn red and their ears get real, real pointy, and they turn into giant monsters. So it could just be a little indicative of the future of maybe Goku finds out where his great 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 grandfather came from. Maybe they're not up. The Saiyans always had the lore of they jump from planet to planet. They originally were on planet Sedala. We found out in Dragon Ball Super. But previous to that, prior to that, maybe they were from the demon realm like
You're
millennia
going
ago,
that whole
and they
way.
found out.
Holy.
I'm just saying, maybe they got a little backstory right
Wow.
there, something like the Nameks. Maybe that's why Super Saiyan God and the ability to gain God Ki through mortals and Saiyans specifically comes from the fact that they are not fully mortal in a way. Maybe they just had that extra level that
Whoa.
nobody tapped into for a long time. I didn't want to go too far, man. My bad. Let me bite
No, no,
my
no.
tongue.
That
Let me
that's.
just
I love that because that like not to say you're reaching, but I wasn't even getting close to that level of like
just
connecting
maybe,
dots,
just
man. You're
maybe,
just, holy.
you
Okay,
know.
that's interesting.
All I know
Uh,
is my great King Toriyama said pointed ears, and I thought about it real fast. That's all I
you
could
put it.
say.
So you're specific. Like just to be clear, just so I'm not sort of misunderstanding. You reckon like the Uzaru is basically from the demon realm?
Yeah, maybe the Saiyans. Who knows? Maybe one of them got. Listen, if they get into it, then they get into it. If they don't, then I was just wrong.
Ah.
Maybe
No,
the
no, that's all right.
Saiyans get dropped as like apes onto a random planet in Universe 7 and 6, and they revert into humanoid forms, but they start out as Ozarus that were roaming the demon realm. Sort of like how, well, clearly just Nameks. Like, we're about to get it. We have to get into
Yeah,
that now
dude.
since we
That's
started
yeah.
that.
Go, go, go,
Namex
go.
were not Namex did not originate from planet Namek. They made that very clear that they started in the demon realm. So with this never, being present, and clearly he's gonna be very focal on learning aspects of Dragon Ball lore, it just tells you right there that just because you are immortal now, or just because you're in universe 6 or 7 does not, or for that matter, you know, the Yardrats have pointy ears. They're not just Yardrats in Universe 7. There was a Yardrat in the Tournament of Power.
Yeah. So
He's
you
from
reckon it's like
Universe
a
2.
migration thing, or do you reckon there is
Yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
yeah? Okay. Because yeah, well, I don't know whether there's like there's maybe races that are expelled, or maybe I don't like. There's a
Mhm.
lot of
Maybe.
ambiguity, especially because they do paint themselves as somewhat like evil, which we don't fully have a definition for. I guess like the new
Yeah.
Demon King was like, oh, I'm gonna do evil stuff, and it's like, okay, but you don't seem that bad. Like
Yeah,
maybe just the
like you
definition
seem
is
harmless, which is
yeah,
classic Tory. Like you want to
yeah.
see
It
what
is.
he has planned now. That
I guess
final
it's
form you
yeah.
mentioned might have been spot on.
it was like it's not evil the way we define it. Like this guy's not walking around with like a mini mustache with his arm half raised. You know what I mean? Like he's not evil in our definition. So I'd be curious to know what. Yeah, again, I mean that goes back to what you said before, like what his motivations and like what he will rule over is, and whether that needs to be expanded in his view or whatnot. But yeah, the whole demon thing. It sounds like it's just a way to immigrate. Like I'm thinking of it very locally. Like it sounds like just Australia and New Zealand, man. Like we all just live in each other's country, even though like we're completely over the sea from one another. But yeah, there's a lot to go with there. I'm very keen to see how they expand on that, especially with the Namek. He said he hadn't seen another Namek in like 1,000 years.
Yep.
So I'm very curious to know whether that's just like him having walked his own path and not seen them for 1,000 years, or whether they're no longer present in the demon realm and that's how long it's been. And if that's the case, how relevant was Demon King Piccolo to the demon realm and being a demon and therefore a possible demon king at the same? Because that wasn't obviously 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, I that is a whole conversation. I can't even tell you. I'm definitely conflicted on understanding whether or not he actually had relation to the demon realm or he just claimed that title. That's always been a
I
weird
hope
thing in
so.
Dragon Ball. Like Deborah was like, nah, that was really me. He kind of, tried me a
You
little
reckon he's
bit,
just
but
a full-on imposter?
yeah, that it always felt that's what I understood it to be
I
when I
did
was younger,
too.
like as a kid. I'm not sure. It seems like they're gonna have to circle back to it. Maybe they'll answer a
I think
question
they
or
have
maybe they'll
to.
just leave
Yeah.
it as be. But yeah, with the Namekian, with the old Namekian, I this is not me. Matter of fact, this isn't me. I saw a theory that was maybe GT Dende that seemed significantly older. He got a lot taller. Maybe he absorbs this Namek at the
No.
end of the series. Maybe he matures a little bit by doing that. Who knows? Maybe he learns his
Oh.
wisdom. Maybe the Dragon Balls get significantly buffed. Maybe he just learns new techniques. We'll see. We'll see. But Dende hasn't grown, and he's been on Earth like 10
Yeah.
years now. It's
Yeah.
8, 10 years.
Yeah. Do you think we're gonna get the trifecta of old Nameks turning young, who are bad guys?
Ooh, there we go. This
Like
is
we've
the
had two.
Greg that I
We've
know.
had two.
There he is. Uh, oof. I don't even. I have no idea. I would be all for it. I definitely want to see all the different enemies. It's Dragon Ball, so we got to see transformations. We got to see bad guys be bad guys. That's exactly what we're looking into. So
Well,
we'll be able to see soon enough.
the one thing that piques my interest and the reason I want them to do the three-peat of the enemy Namekian who is old being young again, I want them to do it because he's of, I guess, like, remember back in the day they separated Namekians into like clans? There's the Dragon
Yes.
Clan who can make the Dragon Balls, which are, I guess, given the more like wizard kind of vibes, like less combat
They're maybe
orientated.
descendants of Neva, yeah, but you were saying, yeah, they're
But
not
yeah, there's
combat
them,
oriented.
and then there's the other ones who would like the warrior race kind, or the warrior
Hmm.
clan kind of thing. And I
The
think it was
Piccolo, the
established.
nails, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested to see a possible Dragon Clan enemy because I think Demon King Piccolo was from the warrior side of things.
yeah. It feels
You know
like
what I
the
mean?
split is
Yeah,
definitely all the
warrior and
evil that was
dragon.
in
Yeah.
Kami that got expelled. Yeah, exactly.
So
We'll
whether we get
see.
like a magic based kind of Namekian as an enemy, I think that would be really
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
You know what I mean? Not necessarily just
Yeah,
like flogging you with these stretchy arms and all the rest. I want to see some like just like proper magic, just chaos,
yeah. And he
chaos. Like
clearly like he has the command over those three knights, that trio of knights that protect the Dragon Balls. So that'll probably be an aspect of his sorcery if we ever see
well,
that. I like
uh,
this. I like this. I like this.
well,
Okay,
I
we're
wonder
getting into it.
also. I also thought with those warriors that seemed like when they because they basically point blank said he made the Dragon Balls, but at the same time he also made these three protectors of each Dragon Ball, which are just
Hmm.
like don't bother. Like
Yeah,
That's how they've
yeah.
made him out at the moment. Just like, don't bother,
They
man.
seem
Like,
tough. I like it.
yeah.
They haven't
He's
said a
standing under
word
one and
yet.
he's like, God damn it, it's right there, but that bloke's there. Like, as if I'm going to get to it.
But when
So
Never
they've got,
walks up, they bow, they give
yeah,
respect.
that's
So
it.
you know that's gonna come back up.
So they've definitely set up some powerful enemies, especially at least in the context to everyone being weaker, which is kind of a question I'm going to get to a little bit later. I'm deliberately holding it off. Um, but what I was going to suggest, do you think these warriors that he's created to protect the Dragon Balls are of the same kind of technique as what Demon King Piccolo did with his minions?
Ooh, ooh,
So I guess
okay.
in extension to that would be, do you think as they're defeated, he possibly gets their power back into him? Like maybe that's half the reason he's like a bit old and weathered is he's divided his
Ooh,
power into three other beings, but as each one dies, he restores that and becomes more and more powerful. So basically, someone beats them all and thinks they've got the three Dragon Balls, but then they've got him at full power to then deal with.
oh man, this is what I'm talking about, man. I am stunned. I don't even have an answer for that one. I guess my best answer would be I think it's gonna factor into those final battles with seeing what all of them are capable of and seeing what this Namek has that clearly he's only scratching the surface of showing us everything he knows and everything he's capable of. He's probably going to teach or show Dende some things. He's likely, I mean, like you're saying, he's not showing us all of his danger either. So with the abilities he has, I oof, man, I don't know what if he. Oh, if they defeat the Knights and he becomes more powerful, that would be that would be a perfect reference and callback back to Daimo. Oh, I'm stunned. I ain't gonna front. You got your own. You try to play me like I was the only one cooking over here. You got some stuff of your own that you were thinking about.
Yeah,
I
I was
like
busy
this.
thinking of this side of things, I guess. But I guess that's a. I listened to you say a few things there, and it kind of piqued my interest as well. Why do you think we're going to see these knights fight? I don't think we're going to see them fight the heroes because I don't see their. Why are they going to need those Dragon Balls if they're possibly based in black magic?
Uh,
Like,
so
surely you think the
maybe what
bad guy's going
happens?
for them or something? Maybe.
Maybe what happens? Goku. The Dragon Balls did just get used, and Neva or Neva, the Namek. Maybe he doesn't want to revert them a second time this soon. Maybe there's consequences, so he falls back, or he just refuses to do it again. So they have to go to the Demon Realm, and the whole goal is to get those Dragon Balls to be like, listen, for some reason we can't use the Namek Dragon Balls over the precedent of this older Namek, so we have to go and get the OGs, the real old ones. And those ones, if you get access to those, will revert you all back to your mature and accurate ages. Maybe that's what that is. So I do
Hmm.
think that the three knights will have to fight Goku and Supreme Kai is with them. We haven't seen much of Vegeta, like in terms of his Daima form. Clearly, he reversed into a kid, right? But we
Yeah.
didn't see much of that in the promo. We'll see more of it in the future, I'm sure. But it seems led by Goku and Shin, or Supreme Kai for that matter. So we'll see.
Well,
By
then
the
I think
way,
that's
hey,
probably
I'm
a. Oh
I'm
yeah,
real
go.
disappointed. I'm
You
real
are.
disappointed, man.
At what?
There's no reason,
You're going to
when
answer
you
the
pull
question
up
I hadn't
to
asked yet. I'll bet you.
when you
Go,
pull
go.
up to Kami's lookout, you
Hmm?
can't you can't put hands on Dende and then Popo, the all
Oh,
powerful Popo. Just
was to make you a
would you
sandwich or
would you
something?
like a juice box? Like what are you being ungrateful for, bro? This is the same man who in that Buu saga about a year prior, as far as we know, was defending himself effortlessly against Goten and Trunks in their Super Saiyan forms. Like I'm real disappointed. I could understand if they had to beat Popo. That's one thing, but they can't have my king stand down like that. We can't have that, bro. Popo's
Okay,
power
I'm
is
gonna read
boundless.
you. I'm gonna read you the exact translations from that scene because that was a specific like set of subtitles that I saw that made no sense. So at 28 minutes 26 seconds, basically, Dende goes in to reach at him, and the brother of Supreme Kai gives him a good judo chop to the
Yeah.
stomach, and he falls back, and Popo runs over to him. The Supreme Kai's brother goes, "Is there a problem?" That's verbatim, and then Popo replies with, "Would you like some juice?"
Juice. Oh my
Would you like some?
gosh, yo.
Like, bro, he's just
They've
assaulted your
nerfed my
god.
king, yo.
I don't understand that. Like, what is that even in
Oh my
reference to?
gosh.
It's not like, hey man, are you okay? I'm sure he's talking to like the Supreme Kai's brother. He's like, do you want a juice, mate? Like, what? I
I
don't
don't
get
know,
it.
man.
I don't get it. All
I
right, well,
was
I'm going to
just
talk
so
about.
disappointed.
I've been meaning to talk about. We should wrap this up soon, but I want to talk about the
I
elephant
thought
in
he
the
was gonna
room.
turn circles into squares, man. That's all I thought. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. GT, basically, to
Yeah,
summarize it.
for sure.
So the method that we're turning into kids again is the GT method, just in a basic sense of things. It's not Black Star Dragon Balls or anything like that. It's just a straight up Shenron wish. Make them all young because that makes them weak. What do you reckon?
I I definitely, the comparisons for the rest of the series will have to be there, whether people like it or not. I'm
Yeah,
not really bothered by it. I'm not anti GT like like certain aspect or certain segments of the community. I understand its flaws and sins for sure, but
I'm
I'm not
disappointed
bothered
they.
by the comparisons. I want to see how far they go. I'm hoping they're not too
Yeah.
many. I don't want to any sort of rerun of GT, right? And it doesn't seem like it's going
Ooh.
to be that. It doesn't. It has the
Dragon
core
Balls are
elements,
playing
but
a
it's
heavy
clearly
part.
very distinct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So we'll
I think
see
Shadow
what the
Dragons are
journey is.
potentially on the table. Um,
Oh,
but I'm just disappointed they just they I don't know. I think they had other options, and I think this is a needless similarity almost. Like I understood the wanting to go back to kids thing because at the end of the day, GT didn't do that for the fun. It was for reference to the OG Dragon Ball. So that's like not an issue for me. But to use the Dragon Balls again to do that, I think is a little bit. I could, I would have preferred something different. Maybe would have made any other potential kind of callbacks a little bit more unique, I guess, later down the track. Like if they do Shadow Dragons, just as an example, I think that's one thing too many that is the same as GT. But hey, who knows?
I understand
Uh,
that. I get
yeah,
that.
uh,
I'm not quite
yeah. I'm
there
not mad
yet.
they
Like
did
I'm not
it, but yeah,
frustrated yet, but I understand if it keeps happening or the similarities keep being forced to be drawn up. We'll be like, all right,
yeah,
well, at that point, what's going to have to be different to make it very distinct? But I'm comfortable with where it's at right now.
yeah,
I'd have to see a lot of GT like things to be like, all right, like I noticed Goku's going Super Saiyan 4. That's a little distinct,
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
little
yeah, for
bit
sure.
of a
Yeah, that's what I mean.
copy
Yeah.
and paste right there. So yeah, we'll see where the journey
I'm
leads us.
cautious
But
about it. That's
I'm
all. Like, I'm not like,
yeah, I
oh,
get
this is the
that.
worst thing in the world. I'm not going to get me torches and pitchforks out or anything. It's just, it's one of those instances where I knew what was going to happen, and I thought there was ways to differentiate it from what had come before, and to just fall back onto the same thing seems a little bit maybe lazy as it stands currently. But it's
I
not
get
again
that.
not the end of the world. But yeah, in terms of I guess expectations for the next episode, what do you think we've kind of set the scene with the new characters. We
Mhm.
know where we sit in the timeline, and I guess I guess this episode wrapped up itself, didn't it? It set out to get the three Dragon Balls to the Demon King. He got them. He made his wishes. Um, what's next?
I oof. Wait, well, you mean he got, Earth's Dragon Balls and then he
Yes. Sorry.
wait,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
he yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So I guess he goes back to the demon realm. He feels unthreatened. Like, I could go and claim my throne, and maybe he starts spreading the word like, yo, I run this now. So just make sure whenever y'all got something going on, I better catch wind of it because I'm your king. Maybe it's
All
something
wishes were
like that
granted.
while Goku goes to Kami's lookout and him and Vegeta ask questions like, yo, like, I don't
Yeah.
know if you've
Yeah.
noticed, but I'm prepubescent. So what's this about?
Well,
And we
does
see what's going from there.
should we assume that all wishes were granted? Because what were the wishes? It was turn everyone to kids, give us the third eye, and 1,000 more years for the Namek. That was the third wish.
Shoot, I
Or was
actually
Supreme
don't
Kai wanted the
even. I don't
third
remember.
wish, but I thought that he was going to guarantee
Yeah,
the.
that's
I don't know that if that was a wish or not, though.
shoot. I'm not sure. I Damn, I can't believe I missed that. I
But yeah, I don't think
actually
we've got
want
the
to see. I
third
think all he
eye.
did was, yeah, I think all he did was wish for Goku to be children, right? I think,
So
and
I
then the episode cut. So
yeah,
we
so I
haven't
guess
even
we're
seen the
gonna
second and third wish.
yeah, so I guess we'll pull in next episode at him basically go and give us the third eye or what?
Yeah. And we'll
Yeah,
have to
okay.
see what that is. I assume it'll be like a little gem or something like that, maybe like a crystal or who knows. And they use demon magic in the demon realm and a ritual to activate the crystal, and then he'll be able to become all powerful. Who knows? You
You
know,
reckon
stuff
he's
like that is
Demigra?
always gonna be.
Do you reckon they're gonna give him
All
a
right,
very
here we
Demigra
go,
vibe?
man. Here we go. I'm telling you, yo, you always got something up your sleeve. I had no idea. I had no idea. But if you've given it thought, then shoot, what do you think it'll lead to?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a sort of strange position too because turning everyone into kids has kind of like it's almost like you've shot a warning shot at an enemy who didn't know you existed.
Didn't care about you, bro.
Yeah. I mean, sure, using Shenron at all probably would have come to their attention. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't know. It's an odd one. Um,
Yeah.
I'm curious.
But that's all right. You know, plot being
Yeah,
plot in Dragon Ball. There's no problem.
I hope the Demon King just goes straight back to the demon realm, and I wouldn't mind spending the next episode. We're probably going to lore dump a little bit again because I think that what
Yes.
we'll see
And I'm
is
all
that
for it. I mean, we're wrapping it
yeah,
up, so let me be
it
short. But
no, but
how do
it
we
did
have
set
these
up a lot.
questions? Yes. Yeah.
It
Just
set up a
waiting, hanging
lot,
around to see how they get answered. That was a very good introduction to
and
Dragon
it,
Ball. That was a
and
great
it's
introduction.
linear, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like we've got a
Yes.
plot, we've got characters' motivations, but also you don't know how where each character's allegiances lie, who's
Mhm.
kind of who's maybe a bit of a double cross agent, who's the
Yeah.
most powerful. Like
We have
there's a
the
lot.
mystery character. Like, we
Yeah.
shoot, we have
There's a
new
lot in play,
Nameks. Like, this is
and
dope.
it's not as simple as like the good guys versus the bad guys. It seems like there's a lot to dig through, which is going to be fun. But yeah, if that is majority of all the talking points, we might leave it there. We'll be back in a couple of days anyway with episode 2. We're recording on Wednesday, and I think the episodes drop on Friday night in my time. So yeah, we're not too far away from that at all. But yeah, just to wrap it up, where can we find you, King Hitman?
It is the Young King Hitman. You already know, man. You guys can find me on my YouTube channel. Greg, I'm sure you got me with like putting a link in the comments or the bio
Yeah, of
or the
course.
bio, the description or anything like
Yep.
that. So I appreciate that. But y'all already know who it is, man. But more importantly, my co-host, man, where can they find you at if they want some more of you, man?
Same thing. The socials should be displayed on screen. I've got Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Obviously YouTube and Discord. It's either Greg Door or Greg Door DBZ or one word. Try your best. It shouldn't be hard to find. But yeah, any last minute episode 2 predictions before we leave it there?
Shoot, I don't have any episode 2 predictions, but I will tell the chat right now and any listeners right now, if you do want any, just off the topic of Diamond real quick, me and my co-host here do plan on playing Sparking Zero. So
Oh,
if y'all
it's
want to tune
on.
into that, make sure y'all check out our channels, man. Y'all
It's
check out
on.
future podcasts. You'll find them all right here on the Greg Dawes channel, man.
I'm
But
in
with
the
that,
hyperbolic
the
time
young
chamber for
hitman
this.
is
I'm
off
going
this.
to
He needs to get
slap
in the
you then.
lab.
I'm
I'm
going to
telling him I'm
slap
gonna
you.
get active. I'm gonna set a real pecking order. All right, he
I'm
knows
going
what's
to
up, but
create trauma.
I'm waiting on him to stop backing down, man. He ducking smoke, man. I puff all
I'm
that up, so y'all
talking.
let me know, man.
Oh, he talks rubbish. All right, guys. Well, until episode 2, we'll see you in the next one.